Hey guys, Future Sam here. So basically, I found a tree and I went out and I cut it down, and then I tried to saw it into planks because I saw it online and I thought that's pretty cool, making my own planks. And so I went out and did it, and this is pretty much the result there. So, yeah. So this is me cutting the tree down. It was a dead one that was kind of rotted, so I chopped down a tree that wasn't completely alive because I was just kind of experimenting and didn't want to kill a live tree just for no reason. So then after that, I peeled the bark off of the tree using my hatchet and whatnot. And then after I got all of that bark off of the tree, I realized there was like some more rotted areas than expected, so I was trying to chop away that because I knew obviously I'm not going to be able to make a plank out of rotted wood, so I was trying to get rid of all the bits that were rotted. Probably would have been easier if I didn't use a rotted tree, but also would have killed a tree for this little experiment, so I didn't do that. Just kind of shaping it up a little bit here. Wanted to make it look a little nicer for me. I walked off a little bit, found another tree, and like a small tree, cut that down. I was going to make wedges to help split the wood because I wanted to try two different methods, one where I kind of split planks and another one where I just straight up sawed it to see which one was better or faster. Turned out that making the wedges was a lot more intensive. I don't know if I just suck at this or it's actually a lot more tedious than you know it would seem, but to make the wedges thin enough and large enough that you could actually use them to hit into the wood did take me some time, and I only made the one because I was lazy. But definitely hindered my process here. If I was going to use this, I would probably I wouldn't do this if I only needed like one thing, but if I was going to make a lot of them, I would probably put the time into making them. I ended up just splitting it down like this, and it didn't work super effectively, so it was not the cleanest method for sure. But I was just kind of messing around, and I was getting annoyed at the lack of results in the other methods, so I just kind of went with this. And then after I did that, I was like, okay, well, we tried that. Now let's try and just saw it straight down. And I had a lot of complications with this as well because I just was really struggling to get the thing to stay in place. And because of how low it was to the ground and there wasn't anything holding it down,
So,
it was a problem.
um, this took like 10 million years. Probably not. Probably only like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. But it felt like forever to just get a board that's maybe a foot and a half to 2 feet long. Um, and with my saw, like my saw's really good. Um, if I were to try and do this and try and make longer boards or try and make a lot of boards, I would probably try and make some kind of like saw stand to put the logs on and hold the log and something to hold the log down, and then I would be able to, in theory, stand on top of it and saw down without having to worry about the log lifting up or getting pushed down. And if I could make some kind of contraption like that where I could just saw up and down, I'm certain I could I could saw boards out a lot faster. It was just me trying to figure out the best position to try and do it from, and doing that. I tried doing the splitting for this first side, where I was making the wedge. Um, Making each wedge is time consuming, so um, making I would recommend if you wanted to make a lot of boards and you didn't really have a saw. Well, if you don't have a saw, it's really your only option. But if you didn't have like a saw or like a good saw for doing that, or you didn't want to put all the effort into sawing each board like this, the splitting is probably a lot less labor intensive once you have all the materials you need for it. Um, Once you have, all of your wedges made, I would probably make like five or so wedges to keep it controlled. And you have your mallet. and all of that for like hammering them in, that process is probably going to be more energy efficient than sawing each one. But to make those boards, that initial like cost and time to make just the like wedges and stuff is going to be uh, a bit of a loss there. But in the long run, it'll be faster once you have more of them done. The only downside is with this, it's a lot flatter of a surface, whereas on this side, you're gonna have to go unless you like if you need it for anything where you don't want all these like bumps and stuff, and you want it to be more even. You're gonna have to go back and fix that up. So there's gonna be another cost and time there. But if it's just for some rough planks for like putting up a little wall or like a fence or a gate. You don't really care about the finer like finish on it that's smooth. Maybe like you would need this for like a chair or like flooring or something. You would want this to be a little bit nicer, so you're not tripping on little bumps in your floor or like getting poked by bumps in your chair. Um, but for other things, maybe it just makes more sense. So I would probably do a combination of both methods, unless I had like a really good setup for sawing everything, and maybe if I had a rotation of people to kind of uh, reduce that amount of time sawing, because sawing up boards for the entire day definitely definitely could get old pretty quick. But um, I think that I did pretty good. I'm actually really happy that I was able to make this. I know that it wasn't like a challenge, um, with skill so much as just a challenge of endurance and strength to power through it. Because I was probably gonna make it longer, but then I was just like I was getting to a point where it was just hard to deal with the log itself, and it was getting annoying because I just couldn't use the entire like I have like a 36-inch long like saw blade, and I couldn't use the entire saw blade to saw it because I was so low to the ground. But if I had myself raised up and the log like restrained, then sawing through that would be a piece of cake. Um, so just if I were going to be doing it long term, I would just put the time into making a setup first before I start actually trying to make planks, which makes sense if you're um, doing anything large scale where like you're actually going to try and build like a cabin or something. But if you're just in the woods, I mean, you probably don't need planks for anything if you're just moving around in the woods anyway. But if you did, that's a lot of time put into something that you're going to leave behind. So probably easier to do the hatchet and wedge method. Um, but the only thing I could think you could really need that for is maybe if you're making a bridge, but you could just use solid logs for that. So I don't know. Um, yeah, but that's my thoughts. I'm gonna probably try and flatten this side down. I just had the idea that maybe I make this into like a little cutting board or like two cutting boards at my house. I think that would be pretty cool. So I might try and do that. Um, this side I've got to get rid of a lot here. It's a lot of like kind of rotted wood. When I first got this tree down, I thought it was going to be like somewhat alive still, but it had a pretty good amount of rot. So that was a little bit disappointing. But I figured I would still try it because it should still work. And a lot of the trees that I would be using, like if I were to go out into the woods around this area, I would probably use cedar trees. So um, if them being rotted was going to be discouragement for me, that's probably going to be a popular occurrence unless I'm taking one that's alive still. But if there's all these dead ones still standing, it just makes sense to take those ones first. Um, so might as well get used to what I'd be dealing with in the future. But I don't know, something something stupid like this. Just kind of making a board. This one's not as much a board as like this one is, but like just making a board out in the woods. Like I said, not really a challenging thing, but it was just cool to do it. So I was like, so I'm pretty happy that I actually did it because I saw it online, like in YouTube videos and stuff, and I was like, that's cool. And now I did it myself, so pretty happy. Smells great too. I love cedar. but I'm probably gonna try and even it all out with my hatchet and stuff. But maybe I just do a video showing the final product, if I even do that. Because I'm not going to do that on camera, because it's just going to be me kind of finding this down, and it wasn't really a part of what I wanted to be showing in this video anyway. So, yeah, peace out. Oh.
This is why I don't work with amateurs, okay? Do you understand me? You're an amateur. I ask for one thing. One thing. That's all I ask for. What do you do? Exactly. Nothing.